Yuri because I will tell you has been a part of a support group that I facilitate for a while now. He has been incredibly honest and forthcoming about how difficult this is for him.
Mm-hmm.
He has been very brave and sought help and support in every way that he can. But again, these illnesses are bigger than any of us.
Yes, I completely agree. I've had a few conversations with Yuri, and he has explained the nature of the condition, the deterioration, and his sleep cycle, his ongoing daily effort to try to assist with her, and the complications of that in regards to as you mentioned, the ups and downs of a progressive dementia case where hallucinations are involved, and he, of course, his constant having to deal with her both physically and of course psychologically at the level of interpersonal care.
Yes.
So I completely agree with that. My spouse and I have been trying to support the level of financial assistance, and at one time, quite a while ago, we did have her here for a bit, but that's when she was, as you say, corpus mentis. She was quite in a good state, but she didn't like the area because of the, it's rural and very, not very entertaining in the sense of having to be so far away from friends and also movement on the street. And she, at that time, she used to like to walk. So, but I completely agree with you, and in terms of supporting Yuri, and we shall have to work out something that could work as best for him, and for her in relation to that process going forward.
Yes, I think that would be beneficial, and I know that Yuri would appreciate it. I'm also going to tell you that, again, we never know, well, if things start to deteriorate, sometimes things can accelerate in the latter stages. So, making sure that maybe you see mom, so that when the end comes, nobody has any regrets, although that's not usually the case. I think everybody just has to be aware that, again, it only goes in one direction, and again, my experience is as we become more impaired and we approach those latter stages, things do seem to accelerate. So, not only for Yuri, but for yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbara, should I jump in or you finish?
Please, Yuri, absolutely. This is for you.
All right, Barbara, just put your foot in the bed. Sorry. So, just to let you know, let me just start from the beginning. Well, we'll talk about the most. This is the most. Nigel, are you aware of what it is?
No, I'm not really.
I read it, but it's a pink slip.
All right, so basically it's medical orders for life-sustaining treatment. And so I signed it to say, do not intubate and do not resuscitate her, if it should come to that. Because the damage from that is far more difficult than, at her age. You don't want to give her, to put it honestly, it's best for her to just pass. Because that's.
So what does incubate mean?
Intubate.
Intubation is when we put a pipe down her throat. If she were to be found non-responsive.
Okay.
So that's when we talk about, that means that her heart has stopped.
Yes.
And resuscitation is to try to get her heart to start beating again.
Okay.
And usually very often when especially a little lady like your mom, we do those very, very aggressive chest compressions. That's what those big guys do on the ambulance. We crack ribs, but if we were to get her heart pumping again, they would have to put a pipe down and hook her up to a heart-lung machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what you essentially signed a thing saying that we're not going to that process. Is that correct?
Yes. You
Yes.
said you do not resuscitate and do not intubate, right, Yuri? That's
Correct.
What
So
was,
it's both.
that's what is on the form.
It's both.
Ah.
Do not intubate. Do not use non-invasive ventilation or mechanical ventilation. And section D. That's section C. Is do not intubate. And so section D. It says it. I'll send you guys a copy. Section D here
Okay.
says. Sent to the hospital when medically necessary. So this was done in May 2024. We're 2 years on, and I have, there's no need to change it because, as Barbara says, it doesn't get any better. So I'll just I made a few notes here. So, due to my, I don't know, Barbara, how long have I been in the group? More than 6 months?
Much, I think way more than 6 months, but I lose track of time, Yuri. You guys usually are better than I am.
All right, so let's say I've been in group therapy for a year. I had what you might call a total mental and emotional breakdown. Maybe I would say 10 months ago. And I had to reach out for psychiatric help. I was crying for no reason, just bursts of emotions and stuff all day, and I was having panic attacks when my mother she gets a panic attack. She sees hallucinations. She wants to get out of bed. She wants to Christopher, you got on?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
All right.
same here.
All right, so let me end the call and you can join. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So So after that, I started to, we have this stigma. Everybody does, but especially in the Caribbean, where mental health. You think you can do it. I can do it by myself. I can handle myself. But I was going. I had literally had suicidal thoughts. I had thoughts of putting my mother in a nursing home. There were days when I wanted to walk out the house and never come back and leave her by herself. And so I got a psychiatrist. I am now on something called Lexapro. It's basically a mood stabilizer. It works. I'm to the point where now I can't even cry. I don't know how to cry anymore. My tears are not. In other words, it removed a lot of the clouds, or if you call it the fogginess from my brain of taking care of mom. I'm also suffering from anticipatory grief because I'm living in a state of total. You're basically in a funeral home, to put it mildly. Seeing someone, lose control of their, even as I talk, she's trying to get out of bed, losing control of their faculties. I mean, this is not diabetes, it's not high blood pressure, it's not an amputation, it's not that she's wheelchair bound but has a clear mind.
Yeah.
She rambles. I had a period in the last 2 or 3 weeks where she did not sleep for 36 hours. I had to remain awake for 36 hours, and as you're well aware, I suffer from epilepsy. I am no good to my mother if I am unhealthy. So every aspect of my life is affected. Personal, the gym. When you see, I get on a plane, I think not of anybody, not my mother, anybody. I just disappear. That's my a release. That is my respite care, if you want to put it like that. That is me running away from what is the inevitable. It comes at a great sacrifice. My work has been affected. I can't clean houses as I used to. I have to be here with her. I have Lisa helping her, and so I you know, I'm overprotective because, you know, she was warned by another doctor if she falls, that's a one-way ticket also to a funeral home because once you break a bone at that age, it does not repair itself. So I just wanted to, you know, lay it out there that and just to put it in perspective here, the PTSD did not start with my mother. It started when I was a child. It started from sexual abuse to physical abuse by my brother Gary, who is no longer with us, and you know I forgive him for that because he wasn't in his right mind. But the trauma that I feel, and sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I get, when, like I said, when my mother panics, something triggers inside of me, flight or fight. You don't want to fight an 86-year-old woman, 89-year-old woman. She doesn't know what she's doing. So I'm told by therapists and psychiatrists to just walk outside, take a deep breath, calm down, and come back in. So the PTSD aspect of it was only revealed when I started to do group therapy with people who have parents who also have dementia or spouses who have dementia. And this is what brought me to this place where I am now of a certain amount of calm. I am no longer angry. I have accepted what it is. I know that my brothers are caught up with their lives. There's nobody to help, and I have basically resigned myself to that. I am not the kind of person who picks up the phone to call every day to complain. I refuse to be a victim, but I'm also suffering at a very great a great amount of pain. I am in fear of developing dementia because I'm living with a dementia patient. I'm forgetful. I drop things. I hit myself on doors because I don't get sleep. And don't get me wrong, this is not every day. But as Barbara explained to you, the disease, you can have a month of pure bliss. She sleeps from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. You have her eating and sleeping. And then, obviously, sometimes now, at her age, her intestines are collapsing. So she had a problem with her bowels. And so now we have to keep her on Senna. And I'm using the Guyanese leaves instead of the prescription ones to get her to go to the bathroom at least 3 times per week. So basically my day starts when she awakes and my day ends when she goes to sleep. Cooking, cleaning, bathing her, dealing with mood swings. Sometimes I get cuffed and slapped because the water is too cold when she's bathing. Sometimes it's total bliss. She's in a good mood this morning. She woke up, she's happy, she told me that, you know, I have God in my heart. She would thank you for taking care of me. Sometimes she calls out for her kids, she calls out for Nigel, she calls out for uncles and whatever. And when I kiss her every day, all day, just to let you know, she's being kissed every day, all day. And when I remember, I would give her a kiss from Nigel, she'll get a kiss from Christopher, she will get a kiss from Gary, and a kiss from myself until she gets annoyed, because too much is sometimes too much. But that's it in a nutshell. She has her lucid moments, but I don't think I have any other thing to say. I'm not here to point fingers or to cause any problems. I just have a feeling of abandonment, and that is not directed at anybody. This has been childhood. That, you know, you guys, Nigel is like 10 years older than me at least, Christopher. There's this big age gap between us, so we don't have this like close bond as brothers. We're scattered all over the world. Gary's addiction affected us all. I'm not singling out myself. My mother was affected. Everybody was affected by it. But yeah, so let me just, I don't want to keep going on and on. You guys can have your say and continue. And Barbara, if you don't want to continue, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, of course, that's very heartfelt statement by yourself, and as you correctly point out,
Chris, you're on, wait, Chris, you're on two, you're double, you're duplicated. And we're not gonna, it's gonna reverberate. I need you to get off one.
Get off one. Turn off your phone or whatever and stay on one.
Right, correct.
Did you hear me, Yuri?
Yes, yes, you're
Yeah.
perfect.
Take off the other one.
Yes,
Yeah, I have. Could you hear me now?
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes, I
perfect.
hear you, yeah.
Perfect.
Yes, Yuri,
Yeah.
what you outlined there is very heartfelt, and I don't have a issue with you at all over the period of time. As you know, the family issues are very up and down. They're very complex sometimes. I have, of course, like you, have suffered from epilepsy.
Right.
So my memory of childhood is completely gone. I spoke to a friend the other day who I just reconnected with out of the blue from Prashad Nagar, and he told me things which I didn't even know.
Yes. Yes.
I also suffered from Tourette's, partial Tourette's, so I have issues here in terms of teaching and things like that. I also have been kind of supported here in terms of my own. I'm not a very good, I'm a humanities person in the sense of, as you know, very political historically, and I don't deal with finances very well. And so my spouse, Halikan, she has been a rock in relation to that and managing financial issues up here. This is also a way of coming around back to the issue of how we can further support you relative to either direct support in terms of occasional coming down. It's very difficult for us to travel down sometimes because of my work schedule, but it's possible. And secondly, the other option, of course, is financial support in relation to things. But you understand that Medicare is doing a lot of it, but you can always call on us for assistance. We have actually thought about her situation very bluntly in relation to the process coming up, and Halikan has urged me to get together to help with a fund for her in relation to any for medically as well as in terms of any terminal situation.
Right.
So we're very aware of what you're going through. All I can't by any means replicate the horror you're facing there, and you outlined it very well. We have had ups and downs, as you know, but I don't remember your trauma from the early period. Generally speaking, I have not remember anything about the only except after falling out of a trench. So my epilepsy, my grand mal seizures has knocked out a lot of my hard drives. So if I appear as if I have no empathy, it's not because of that, because I don't remember what you went through as a youngster.
Right.
Secondly, my spouse, Halikan, as you know, before we had a little spat over the issue of the visit here, was always trying to assist in relation to the vehicle and other things at home. So we have both ways in terms of how she felt in relation to that particular episode, but we never kept it as a long ongoing issue, and we continue to to look out to assist in any way possible, and that is where we stand at the moment. We will do everything possible to assist. We did at one time, as I mentioned earlier, did recommend that she come up here to stay for a period of time. But as I said, after a couple of days, she couldn't handle it at all. So that's where we are at this kind of thing. And again, we stand ready to assist.
Okay.
Yeah. Yuri,
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
can I just say I'm so grateful of what you're doing, brother. I praise you from deep in my heart.
Okay.
The things that you had to go through with Mom, I experienced it when I was there.
Yeah, I know.
For a short period when I came on holiday a few years ago, and it really hurt me because she couldn't recognize me at
Right.
some stages,
Right.
and she would say, "You were not my son," and stuff like that.
Right. And you get upset.
I could
Right.
really go through all
Right.
that,
You get upset.
and
too.
I
Yeah.
could see
Yeah.
the way you've done for all this time. It's actually it's affected me in a different way because I can't see Mom. I'm
Right.
miles away. I'm
Right.
not in America. I'm in England. So to
Right.
travel, it's going to be a bit difficult for me.
No, I understand.
and the things with work and all that stuff, you know. But as I said, I reached out to you the other day to say I would love to come over to see Mom. You know, obviously I can't stay in the house, but I would find a hotel or something to visit you. And it's not only visiting Mom, I'm coming to visit you as a brother
Yeah.
because I miss you a lot, you know.
Yeah. I hear that. And
Financially, I can
Right,
help as
sorry.
well. So
Go ahead.
anything you need, financially, I can help. So if you could send me some information on how much it costs and stuff, and break it down for me, I'm willing to help.
so
know?
thank you. But yeah, like I said, Medicaid, Nigel knows Medicaid and Medicare covers a lot of stuff, so it's not like I have to pay out of pocket. My rent, I deliberately did not try to. The apartment upstairs, which is a 2-bedroom, was
Yeah.
available, but it's $2,900, and downstairs here it's half the price. So I decided
Yeah.
to stay in the basement. It's not the best. I would prefer her, to be able to go down the stairs in a wheelchair to go outside. But now she can't even climb the steps. So she has house calls
Yeah.
from doctors. The X-rays, everything is done via house calls. And I know when you guys call to check on your mom, you call and you ask how is mom doing. But most family members, Barbara will tell you in group chat and so on, they don't ask how the caregiver is doing. And I understand,
Exactly.
and I understand why. It's not deliberate. You're just
No.
unaware
No.
of the fact
No.
that mom is in a state where she has become a child again, and so
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to do everything that as if I had a little baby. So, as you know, we recently got her a doll that she cherishes. She
I
behaves
feel
like
that,
it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but to answer your point, is like, I have
It's all
become.
on your shoulders. It's all on top of you.
So
Yeah, I
it's
understand.
multi-layered. You become a child,
Yeah.
you're a parent. Sometimes she gets aggressive,
Yeah.
sometimes she's a baby. She's a huge, she's 130 pounds, and she's still, how can you lift her? So her mobility is limited from the bed to the bathroom and back to the kitchen and stuff like that. We try to do exercises. She got a little thing in her left hand where she can't open her hands. She knocked it. She fell a few times, thankfully not often, and she hasn't broken anything. But because our mother, as you know, is very pleasant and humorous, she has brought that into the dementia. So her personality is not one of throwing feces at me or slapping me around or whatever.
Yeah.
She doesn't display those kind. All she walks, she thinks that Granny Ati, her mother is still alive, and I just say yes, she'll be back tomorrow. And in 5 minutes,
Okay.
she forgets that Granny Ati. So I'm sitting here talking to you, and she's trying to get off the bed. And, I got the bed rails up. And just to let you know, there are times when I have no choice but to leave her alone with a camera on in the house. I have a Ring camera,
Yeah.
and it's a motion detection camera. And if I have to go to the laundromat a few minutes away to do laundry, I turn on the camera, leave her in the bed, and once she's sleeping, but when she tries to come off the bed, I got to jump in my car, rush home, take her back. If I got to go to the gym, if I got to do anything at all,
It's affecting your lifestyle. Your things
so
to do. Yeah.
I know sometimes, I get on a plane and I go. It's my money. I save my money. I try to just walk away for a few days, but I still have to pay. I still have to give. Lisa is paid. Her aide, Lisa, is paid for so many days a week. But when I go away, Lisa gets paid from me in addition to what Medicaid pays her to take care of my mother, because I can't leave her here.
That would be what we can help with your payment to the carers. That's not
It doesn't mean I can handle. I'm
It does mean I want to help.
I'm very. I don't have a lot of savings, but I'm very responsible when it comes to money. And if Gary, may his soul rest in peace, if Gary taught me anything, is to stay away from narcotics of any kind. So I'm not a drug addict. I'm not, I drink a few beers on the weekend. You can see me dancing and having a good time. That's me. That's me shutting down. That's me walking away. That's me just saying, not F my mother. But there was a time not too long ago, and Barbara will tell you it's common, where you wish your parent would just go. You just wish, because you see the suffering and you see there's nothing, and you're struggling. Why didn't they go earlier, or why? But when they go, I will be devastated, and so you're caught between all these raging emotions. The anger that I feel, the anger that I feel towards her is towards the disease. It is not towards her. I am upset with her because she has dementia. As stupid as that sounds, I am upset with her because why are you doing this to me? It doesn't make sense.
But she's not. She don't know what she's doing. So
Correct.
No way,
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but you
And she
don't.
don't mean anything bad to you.
No.
She loves you as a son and loves all of us, but she can't actually say it in that way.
Right.
You know?
Right. So you want to give her the best that you can, because all of us would admit we had a perfect parents. Both my father and my mother, they did a wonderful job raising us.
100%.
There was nothing. My mother worked hard. I think she earned more money than my father. She put food on the table. We suffered from blackouts, whatever. We struggled and everything. But she was always kind and generous, and I'm returning the favor. That's all. This is my role. It's not a role that I take with pleasure. It's not, I'm making a lot of money just sitting here doing nothing. But it's reciprocal. I'm giving her back what she gave to me. And I plan to do more in the future, but, I just wanted, Barbara, we have this group every Thursday. There are people who are in a 10 times worse situation, worse than there's another Barbara who told us the other day she had a sister that she asked to help with her mother who had dementia. The sister said, well, are you leaving half of the house for me? Then I will help. Yeah, so you have families with 10 siblings and there's only one that helps. Again, this is not directed at you guys, but there are families with 10 siblings and there's only one that helps. And it doesn't have to do with mother. It doesn't have to do with Bertardo. It's not the oldest child. It's not the youngest child. It could be any child. It could be whatever. But it has come to a point, like Barbara called this meeting, because we have to face reality, as hard as it may be. But I'm saying to you again that things could be worse. Let me stop talking. Barbara, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I want to intervene
Yes,
there
go
quickly.
ahead.
So, I completely agree with you. You mentioned something about the asking about the other, and I completely agree that we don't ask enough about it. It's not that we don't think about it.
Right.
My conversation with Hadika, we always you were doing even before we had any problem. The other thing too is that I didn't talk because the thing is two ways. It goes both ways. I don't talk a lot about the situation, the challenges we face up here. Alikan has a serious migraine problem that debilitates her body.
Right, I think you
So
told.
I'm, in a sense, partly caregiver, and she's caregivers for me. And it's a progressive thing, and she's not been. We have to think about even going to some other part of the country to get help, because everything she's tried has not been helping. Her body is being debilitated. She can't walk sometimes. So when sometimes appears from the other side that we're unfeeling, it's not necessarily that at all. It's just we're quietly going through issues, and both you and I, and perhaps Chris and Gary, before we don't talk about about our pain, right? And I am just mentioning that because you mentioned that it appears as we don't ask about you, and I think Chris put it very well. We do think about you, and sometimes we do have same things that family has, but and we do think about mom herself, but we also from this end are facing challenges and that's hampers our movement. I didn't mention this before because I want to deal particularly with mom and yourself, but we do have serious challenges, and I only don't know how we'll work on that, and that prohibits me coming there as often as I can. But as Chris mentioned, we can help financially. We did talk about covering, putting a fund up, cover anything that could foreseeable future that happens. We will help to probably do the entire, cover the entire cost of any, and be blunt here, funeral or anything like that would have to come to a mom, So I just want to put that out there because you've been very frank, and I want to be as frank as you are, as Chris is in relation to this whole problem.
Yes.
Yeah, you. Another thing is, I had issues with you ages ago, and we had an argument. That's what it was, nothing else. I have no personal grievance against you, and I suffer from a lot of stress. I do martial arts and I do training to get rid of that stress. I'm a very aggressive person in that sense,
Yeah.
and maybe that's how it came across to you. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm in no way. I dislike you or have anything against you. I love you as a brother.
Thank
That's
you.
all I can say.
Thank you. Okay. I understand.
Okay, so I'm gonna step in a little bit here.
Okay,
I
Bob.
think that this was a wonderful opportunity for the air to be cleared amongst you guys. My concern is very simple. My experience is that the caregiver is at far more risk for health issues, for terrible things that can occur. The stress of being a caregiver, and again, Nigel, you experience it, with your wife, so I think you can understand what I'm saying. My concern is if, God forbid, something happens to Yuri, what's going to happen to your mom?
Yeah.
That's where I think the critical part of the meeting is
Yes.
what can we do in relation to that issue in terms of communication, in terms of planning, and if possible movement. So I just want to put that out there that we need to have a situation where a third person who you're in contact with should be in contact with us as well if any situation
Yeah,
arises.
Yeah.
So it's not only you
just,
yourself.
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
understanding, who mom's doctors are. Where,
Yeah,
what
yes.
kind of medication is she on?
Yeah.
God forbid Yuri ends up in the hospital.
Yeah.
I am lucky because I'm connected to Yuri through his physician. Mom's physician is here, or we were before she went on house calls. But I can kind of act as a conduit. But I think the time is critical now that everybody have an understanding of who takes care of mom. God forbid something happens with Yuri medically, psychologically, whatever it is. He travels a lot. Something happens. You guys just need to be aware of what's going on with mom, who do you contact, what our medications are, and how we pick it up, we pick up the ball and run with it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that requires that you provides, you say you're going to provide the pink paper that you showed earlier, but also
Yes.
the
The
list of contacts of
medications
doctors.
and medication.
And
Yeah.
as I said, a third party that could notify us in the case of emergency, because even with the doctors available, and so we need to know if anything occurs with you himself, we need to know that
Yeah, that's
ASAP, and so that will be required. So I think what you need to do is to set up a kind of between Chris, you and I,
Yeah,
a roll call of individuals and medications and everything that could work in relation to this issue.
Yes.
definitely.
okay. So Lisa would be the first person. She works here. She's literally like a
Yeah.
family member now. You know how caregivers can, home health aides can become like family. She's very very good with mom. They have a nice rapport. She has all the medications, and so when I go on vacation, she will obviously have Nigel number, Chris number to call him in case something happens. You know, so I'll make her the designated person. I'll give her, I'll put all the numbers on the wall. I'll put the list of medications. She's pretty good. She will be able to manage it because obviously she's here all the time. Even when I'm away, when I'm not away, she's here 4 days a week, 3 days, 8 hours, and then one overnight on a weekend. Yeah, so that would be the first person I can think about because I have friends. I have many friends in New York City, but they might not be easily accessible. Lisa's
Yuri,
50.
you can include me on that list. You
Okay.
can
Okay.
leave my number.
All
All
right.
right?
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, you guys go ahead. Give me 1 second. I gotta take her to the bathroom. Just keep talking. 1 second.
Okay.
Anything we didn't talk about, guys? Anything that...
Just to add to the issue before Chris, before the in the last couple of years I have because of my own overwork in relation to